Hi there, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. I've put a few clips of UFO information together from the news reports, various news outlets like RT, Fox News, and I've put the 60 Minutes one in there as well, and some of my own commentary and add bits and things and make it a bit more interesting, and with pieces of my views. I may get 3 strikes for this, I don't know, for copyright infringement, I don't know. I thought put it all in together, maybe I'll only get 1 if somebody puts a strike in, but if various do, I don't know if you get so many strikes for 1 video, I don't know. But if I lose my channel, you know why, it's 3 and I'm gone, but I'm risking it anyway, I don't care. Okay, thanks for watching, hope you found them interesting. It's mostly current news on the UFO status and what the various news. BBC actually did one as well, didn't they? I didn't put that in. I did a video on that separately yesterday. Actually, I'm going to stick the BBC one in again because then it's all in one video, isn't it? People can hear all of it together, what the different views were. Okay, thanks for watching. What I'm going to do actually, I'm going to put a day aside over the weekend and get a little batch together of all my best videos and photographs, like a little batch, and send them to all the top people and the Air Force people and the people who are doing this big report, because I've got some of the better pictures than the ones they're showing to the public. I've got some better ones than that, so they'll be really useful in their arguments, I think. So I'm going to send them to everyone I can think of and some of the news outlets, and I'll report on what the response was, if any. We'll see how it goes. That's what I'm going to do next week. Well, over the weekend, and I'll do that. I'll let you all know. Bye.
Critters that were captured by NASA on that mission, the STS-75, in 1996. In all my considerable experience of the entire UFO scenario, I have never seen and never expected to see footage like that. And least of all did I expect to see it on film or tape that had been exposed by the government in a NASA mission. The shuttle Columbia in this mission was equipped with a very sophisticated and expensive ultraviolet camera. It was sensitive to the near ultraviolet. And when they were up at 300 miles above the atmosphere, they launched from the Columbia a small satellite with a tether. Not long after it was launched from the Columbia, the tether broke.
We'll record steadily the whole break and coil back to the tether.
Copy, Claude.
We go.
Again, this is a view of the satellite.
Well, if it had to break, it hit it in the right place.
And you see on this astonishing film, you see the satellite go drifting far astern of this orbiting Columbia. The tether, which is 12 miles long, straightens out into a long white line, which you can see as plainly as could be.
Columbia and the satellite now 77 nautical miles apart.
Now, while this is all going on, a whole covey of UFOs, perhaps 36 of them, manifest to this ultraviolet camera, and they begin moving around, circulating, looking for all the world like something in an aquarium tank.
The satellite, again, just moving into sunrise.
Now, Houston, of course, down on the ground, is getting this feed from the Columbia, and they ask the astronauts in the shuttle, what can they see? What is it they can see?
Guys getting the image?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Well, the long line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us.
It is like a brilliant white bar. It looks like a neon sign, and it's 12 miles long. Now what this does is give you a sort of cosmic ruler by which you can get an idea and an estimate of the diameter of the UFOs that are flitting around down there. Now when you see them go behind the tether, that means that you can use that tether like a ruler to measure their diameter. And those things that are down there going behind the tether are between 2 and 3 nautical miles in diameter. One of the things you see over and over again is you see UFOs materialize into the ultraviolet while you watch. You see them come from out of nowhere to the point where they are returning a response to the camera. You also see them dematerialize while you have them under observation. There's 2 of the central things that have gone on with UFOs since day one: materialization and dematerialization. It's going on in this film 300 miles above the Earth, photographed by your government with your astronauts superintending the whole thing.
Charlie, completely unzoomed, and you see the full extent of the tether.
Columbia, Houston, that's a much better view, a lot more contrast.
But I realized at this point that it's very secret, that it was kept secret, because I asked him, what are you going to do with this piece of information? And he said, we always airbrush these out before we sell them to the public. So they're pesky little creatures appearing on this photograph they wanted to get rid of.
This is a fact of the matter. We were really not sure after John flew whether or not there were critters, living critters, out there somewhere.
Currently receiving a downlink from Discovery as it passes over the Pacific Ocean. Once again, the Cirrus is part of AFP 675. The problems that have occurred with the 2 tape recorders on AFP 675 have had no impact on Cirrus.
Appearing on this photograph they wanted to get rid of.
This is a fact of the matter. We were really not sure after John flew whether or not there were critters, living critters, out there somewhere.
Currently receiving a downlink from Discovery as it passes over the Pacific Ocean. problems that have occurred with the two tape recorders on AFP 675 have had no impact on Cirrus. We are currently receiving a downlink from Discovery as it passes over the Pacific Ocean. Once again, the Cirrus is part of AFP 675. The problems that have occurred with the two tape recorders on AFP 675 have had no impact on Cirrus.
That was the famous tether incident, for those of you who don't know and don't remember. I remember, actually, this is one of the first pieces of evidence I remember looking at. You know, there wasn't that much in those days, and this is one of the famous ones. But just wanted to add a little clip of a film I took myself with similar objects. I'm using a 300mm camera. The objects are going behind some of the clouds, so we can tell they're more than 20,000 feet up. They reckon they're about, some of them could be a mile across in diameter. I don't know, they could be. Yeah, these ones, it's hard to tell what size they are, isn't it? Or how high they are up. But I've included a little clip anyway, and there's more to come. I've got a few clips to add in, but this is just my commentary in this. If you look at some of the objects, I've been saying they're like little ghosts, because when you look at them, if you look carefully at the screen when they're all flying around, some of them go quite fast up on the right and on the left, and you can see how they leave a trail behind them, like they're liquidy, like a ghost sort of. This is what I was trying to explain to people. They seem liquidy, they don't seem like a proper object, a metallic object. They're like living creatures, and this is exactly what I've been trying to tell people. And they use the terms materialize and dematerialize, which I use a lot as well, because when you see them disappearing, there's nothing else to call it, is there? It dematerializes and will materialize somewhere else. So they have the power to do that. So enjoy the rest. I'll be popping in and out with commentary here and there after each segment.
Now, they are said to be able to cross galaxies, but people who believe they're out there want to know why aliens want to visit Earth. A group of former U.S. servicemen is convinced extraterrestrials are interfering with nuclear weapons, as RT's Cedric Moon explains.
Perhaps few things say normal or routine more than a daily dose of coffee, a cup of calm in what can on any day be out of the ordinary. Out of the ordinary, like a nuclear holocaust out of the ordinary. Let's say there's an attack from where doesn't matter. It could be North Korea, Iran, Pakistan. If that were to happen, nuclear payback wouldn't happen. That's a claim made by the men in this room.
Our missiles began going into what's called a no-go condition, or unlaunchable. Essentially, they were disabled.
Detailed in this report, full of court-sanctioned sworn affidavits.
The witnesses have described these craft as disc-shaped, or cylindrical-shaped, or spherical.
If you think what's being said inside this building is completely ridiculous, you might want to consider something.
My name's Robert Hastings. Thank you for coming.
These are men who might know what may have gone on. They're former Air Force missile launch officers, missile base officers, who say UFO spaceships, flying saucers, make nuclear weapon systems go haywire.
In 1966, according to a launch officer, David Shore, his missiles were temporarily activated just as his security guard was reporting a bright object moving from missile to missile to missile.
10, 9, 8.
And it's not just in the United States. Also,
4, 3,
in Russia.
2, 1.
Like a 1982 incident that happened in then Soviet Ukraine.
Given the fact that these incidents have gone on over there, including one incident of their missiles being temporarily activated when a UFO was hovering above the missile base, identical to what occurred here, I think we can rule out that whoever are piloting these craft are either American or Russian.
Maybe they're right. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe there's no way to ever know. But if they are right, and an out-of-the-ordinary day is about to unfold, remember the saucers. Cedric Moon, RT, Washington, D.C.
Are there aliens among us? The truth is out there, but it might be a little longer till we find out what that is. A report scheduled to be released to the Senate Intelligence Committee in June on UFOs is getting major pushback now by the Pentagon. RT's Farron Franzak takes us back to how this report all came about.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. The whole thing, dude.
It was this video that made all those people who've been told they're crazy for saying aliens live among us not so crazy anymore.
We have things flying over our military bases and places where we're conducting military exercises, and we don't know what it is, and it isn't ours.
But not all have been declassified, and don't expect it anytime soon. This after military and spy agencies blocked the effort to release this information on unidentified flying objects.
When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that, frankly, engage in actions that are difficult to explain.
There's now a report that is supposed to be issued by the Pentagon, the Secretary of Defense, and the Director of National Intelligence by June 25th. But those still investigating these UFOs are asking for more time and pushing back on releasing classified information altogether.
I actually wanted to get this information out and declassified before I left office, but we weren't able to get it down into an unclassified format that we could talk about quickly enough.
The Pentagon declined to comment on the pushback, only saying, quote, "To protect our people, maintain operational security, and safeguard intelligence methods, we do not publicly discuss the details of the UAP observations, the task force, or investigations."
Frankly, that if it's something of outside this planet, that might actually be better than the fact that we've seen some technological leap on behalf of the Chinese or the Russians or some other adversary.
While it's unclear when these reports will be released, one former Pentagon official says the good news is that Congress is taking it seriously and will keep pushing for its release. For RT, I'm Farron Franzak.
We spent some time reporting on this story. We should have spent a lot more time because this could be the most consequential thing to happen to this country, to this world, maybe ever. In June, the United States government is set to release a public report on everything it knows about UFOs. Lou Elizondo is the former head of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. He's been on the show a number of times. He just spoke to the New York Post about what that report will show. According to Elizondo, we will find an intelligence failure on the part of the U.S. intel community on the level of 9/11.
The last time we had an intelligence failure of this country, a major one, which was 9/11, it took us almost 3 years to come up with the 9/11 Commission report. Okay, it takes a long time. Let's just go down the rabbit hole here for a second. Let's just assume this is some sort of adversarial or foreign technology that several decades now has managed to leapfrog us and evade all 18 members of the intelligence community, despite our best human intelligence, signals intelligence, imagery intelligence, yada, 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 right? That would be an intelligence failure that would eclipse just about anything else this country has ever faced, especially if this has occurred for decades, that there's a foreign adversary that can put a nuclear warhead within moments over Washington, D.C. Okay, that's a problem.
Yeah, That's a problem. And too few have considered it from that perspective. Nick Pope is a former Ministry of Defense official from the UK and perfectly positioned to answer the obvious question, which is, why didn't we see this coming? He joins us now. Nick, thanks so much for coming on. I thought Lou made a very solid point, and I'm embarrassed I hadn't thought of it before, which is this is, among other things, whatever these objects are, a potentially very grave threat to nation states. So where was the intelligence community in warning about this and learning more about it? Where were they?
Well, that has to be answered, absolutely. I mean, we are under siege. It's like there's a war of nerves going on. And if this was drones belonging to a foreign adversary, there would be an absolute outcry. And yet, the situation we're in, that we don't know what these things are, and they might even be extraterrestrial, that's worse. So I agree with Luis Elizondo on this. This is a potential catastrophic failure of intelligence. And if it happened because skeptical bureaucrats were just saying to themselves, it can't be, therefore it isn't, then there must be a reckoning.
So you say, and that is such a great point and nicely put, but you described it as a siege. Give our viewers who don't follow this topic closely a sense of the magnitude of data coming in about these encounters.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely extraordinary. And every day it seems like new information drops, things that the public and the media weren't told. So, for example, former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe just threw into the conversation the other day the fact that the satellite imagery of all this and some of the speeds being reported seem to blow the theory about foreign drones out of the water. We must be told what's going on here, and we should think of this upcoming report to Congress as an intelligence assessment of the phenomenon itself, and one that's long overdue.
There are a lot of these. This is not like, you know, some drunk guy in a rural road in northern New Hampshire saw something weird. I mean, this is the U.S. military regularly, very often, recording these objects.
Yes, absolutely. It's pilots, it's radar operators, it's satellite data, it's measurement and signature intelligence. There's such a lot of information now, so much that the US Navy has instructions for its pilots on what to do if they encounter these things. Now, I think as we go into May, in the run-up to this report going to Congress, there's going to be a lot of things going on behind the scenes, a lot of politicking, jockeying for position, factions, trying to kind of have their say on this. I anticipate more leaks of information, photos, videos, documents. There's a lot more to come here.
Nick Pope has been on this for so long. I appreciate your steadfast commitment to answering obvious questions. You know, what is this? Thank you. Good to see you.
Now, it's not often we get to discuss UFOs on this program. Not often enough, you might say. But tonight, the Pentagon has given us the perfect excuse. A former defense official has told CNBC that when it comes to UFOs, the US has a massive intelligence failure on its hands. Next month, Congress is set to be briefed on UFOs when a long-awaited Pentagon report is released. In April last year, the US Department of Defense authorized the release of 3 historical US Navy videos depicting unidentified aerial phenomena. And here is one of them.
My gosh. We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
Well, I'm joined by the writer Gideon Lewis Krause from The New Yorker, and I guess this report will go before Congress next month. So just give us a flavour of the buzz around this. Are people taking it seriously? Are they shocked, or is it starting to shift now?
Well, it's been shifting for the last few years. Ever since the New York Times had a big story in December of 2017, all of a sudden it's gained currency as a credible topic of conversation in the States for the first time since the late 1960s. And certainly that has reached a kind of fever pitch here over the last couple of weeks. We've had a lot of media attention with the expectation that this report next month might actually reveal something.
And when you hear Marco Rubio, the Florida senator, saying we cannot allow his words, the stigma of UFOs to keep us from seriously investigating this. You don't know whether the stupid people are the ones who believe it or the stupid people are the ones who don't believe it.
Well, I think the most sane and least sensationalistic way to interpret that kind of statement is to say that the Pentagon is a classic, military bureaucracy. Everything is reported in precisely the way that it's expected to be reported. Everything goes in its slot. And that one way to read this is to say, we're entering a new era of potential drone warfare, and that we actually just need better reporting procedures such that when people see strange things in the sky, they don't feel like they're going to be labeled hallucinatory kooks if they speak out about it.
So can we talk about these strange things in the sky then? I mean, when you break it down, you've got, I guess, a choice of whether the UFOs are secret US military, a foreign player of some sorts, or something inexplicable and extraterrestrial, right?
Right. Those are the three options. I mean, or it's just a lot of instrumental glitches. But the problem with that interpretation is that it's hard to square a lot of instrumental glitches with the kind of radar returns that we have, and especially the pilot testimony complicates that way of trying to write it all off. But yeah, those are the three categories. And it does seem like plenty of people have said it's very hard to imagine that it's the first category because we simply don't test our newest, most classified military equipment in live training ranges in restricted airspace without notifying our pilots first. So it seems hard to believe that it would be that first one. Certainly it seems like most of the military people involved would lean toward this second interpretation, that this is probably some new generation of drones or drones potentially disguised to look like something else, but that we should really be prepared for these things, that it's alarming if drones are operating, are making incursions into restricted airspace with impunity.
And we've already, I guess, got a culture war going on in the US. So isn't the likelihood that people who believed in them before all this will carry on believing in them, and people who find another explanation or a conspiracy or whatever will go for that, and people who won't be shifted on this? I mean, do you think it will actually have an impact in Congress?
Well, this might actually be one of the rare issues that unites many Americans. So far, at least, it does not seem to be showing a bipartisan split one way or a partisan split one way or another. There's a lot of bipartisan interest in this. Not only Senator Rubio, who of course has been outspoken about it, but Senator Mark Warner of Virginia has spoken about this, and there's been people on both sides of the aisle who seem to be very interested in the UFO phenomenon. So it's possible that this will help heal America's divisions. Everybody getting excited about UFO.
I think that might be the most extraordinary thing of all. Gideon Lewis-Krause, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for joining us this evening.
So this report is from the States, obviously, and the sightings that they're seeing, and is saying obviously a security risk, and they could be China or Russia. What about all the sightings? I'm in UK. What about these? They're in our airspace as well. What about our defences? Aren't they saying anything? Why aren't they saying anything? You forgot to add no sound whatsoever. No sound out of these things, hardly. You see them every day for a couple of years. I told you they were out here every day, didn't I? I've been filming. Every time I take film, they're in the skies up there, so that it seems like they're there all the time. And they've mentioned the size of about 737. I said exactly the same in my videos. I said it's about the size of a plane, a smallish plane, smaller than the big large ones, like a 737 or something. You said exactly the same what I said, and very similar to what I've been saying as well. And I'm not in the government, I'm not Air Force, I'm just a normal person observing, and this is what I'm observing. The Air Force are observing the same. Now, to say that they don't know anymore, that's a different story altogether. They know a lot more than they're letting on. They do. But these things are very secretive. They really, really are secretive. So I'm a bit skeptical in a way as well that maybe they don't know anything. Maybe they don't know anything. I know there have been claims that we're working with aliens and we get some technology from them and all the rest of it. I don't know on that one. I've always been a bit 50-50. Could be, could not be. But in terms of our own development, human nature and everything else, we haven't really advanced that much. everything that we have done, we could have discovered ourselves without any intervention, I believe, anyway. There's nothing really otherworldly about a lot of things, is there? It's more like human advancement to me. So we can't really say, well, they've given us this, they've given us that. Maybe we have, maybe we're not as clever as I think we are. And they do give us everything, who knows? But from my experience over years now, I've been seeing these things since the 60s and been saying these are aliens, you know, in Ireland, as I was saying somebody today on Twitter, very Catholic, or, you know, brought up, and everything is demons or angels. If you see something good, it's an angel. If it's something you don't like, it's a devil. No in between. And I was always called, well, it's your own fault for dabbling. You shouldn't be dabbling. I was only trying to research and look into things. My mum would say, leave everything alone. Why are you looking into this? Why do you want to know? I'd say, what do you mean, why do I want to know? Of course I want to know. I want to know everything. She thought you should leave certain things alone. Just do what the priest tells you. Listen to the church. And I was very against this from a very early age. A terrible rebel. It's called the Antichrist and everything. Made me laugh. But I just knew when I said I've seen something. No, there's nothing there. Go to bed. You're imagining things. You must have been dreaming. I heard that all my life. And then I was getting witnesses and faces would go like, oh my God, go green. But still people would say, oh, come on. Can't believe that. You must have been imagining it. But too afraid to admit that I might be right. I might be telling the truth. And I have been telling the truth since I was a child. I've been telling the truth about everything. Everything I've said that happened has happened. And I'll never go back on that. Never. So everything I said in my interviews previously is 100% true. I don't even need notes. That's my life. And I can just reel it off. People can ask me anything and I'll be able to answer. Anytime, go back 10 years, go back 20 years, you'll still get the same answers today. See, what I can't believe really is if aliens have had anything to do with us and our development, what the hell are they standing by watching all these wars, continual starvation, a hungry mob, 1%, taking over everything on the planet, destroying everything, destroying people's lives? What the hell are they all sitting by watching this? If they're giving us this so they can do that. I'm not happy with this at all. And if this is the case, well, they're not to be trusted. They're hostile, in my opinion. But somehow I don't believe that. So there's so many questions, really. It needs a big discussion, doesn't it? I mean, I'm really annoyed with a lot of things, the way things are going on this planet with the government and everything else. And if there is any ET intervention, well, why do they seem attracted to me? Why are they around me all the time? Obviously there's some involvement, or they want me to film them and do what I'm doing. I don't know. But if I have anything to do with it, they're going to get a good kick up the arse. Really and truly, because I'm really annoyed with the way they've been doing things, if they are just observing. But then you think, humans have been like this since the beginning of time. Wars all over the place. Always a crew in charge, beating everybody else up and reaping the benefits for themselves. This has always been the human nature, and it seems that we can't get out of this. So what's that about? You know, there's too many wrong things that could have been changed and haven't been, in my opinion. So what have we got from the Air Force? They don't know what these things are. They've got propulsion. They can move very fast, much faster than anything we have. They can move in all directions, up, down, sideways, crosswise, slantyways, anyways. There's no sound coming off them. They can disable our nukes if they need to. And they did that to show off their power. Look what we can do, so don't get cheeky. I mean, wouldn't you love to be on the fly on the wall in that craft? I certainly would. I really, really would. Come on, give them another shock. Show them what you've got. Let's panic them all. Gosh. So it's just thinking. I'm just thinking. This is only stage one. I believe there are a few stages, and this is stage one. But Why are the government saying now? Why didn't they say it years ago if they have been, dealing with aliens years ago? Why haven't they said anything? I don't think they know too much, to be honest. I think probably the normal person like me wouldn't know more. That's if they haven't been in touch with the Air Force, if there's no contact made. And I somehow doubt, just by what they're saying and little things I can pick up, it seems to me that they don't really know. They're just as bewildered as we are. And that's a scary thought as well, isn't it? Shouldn't they know what's in the space? It's hard to know. I think stage 2, they're going to be talking about contact. They're going to be telling us, well, they've made contact, or we're trying to make contact. But maybe they don't want to. Why haven't they wanted to? If they haven't already. It's been a long time, and if they've been around, I mean, they're mentioned in the Bible, they're mentioned in loads of things in the past, thousands of years, possibly even, makes one wonder. Have they been watching us all this time, just going around in circles, getting destroyed, starting again, going back to square one? This seems to have happened a few times, in my opinion. We've gone back to square one, and probably 90% of the planet is probably erased, and the other 10% have to start again as little cave people. This is how we know how to grow seeds, and know how to do this, know how to make little hammers, know how. It's already in the instinct. That's not instinct, really. It shouldn't be. If we're just starting new, that would be gradual developments. But it seems that the humans who start again and get the land and migrate, they already know these things. They already know how to make flour from wheat, and they already know how to mine for diamonds and coal and everything else, not coal, other things, mine for iron and copper. How do they know these things? It's like they already knew, and everything was destroyed, and you have a few people trying to survive and build their way back up again. This is what it seems to me, time and time again. And if this happened, like if it happened now, there's a big volcano erupted or a massive earthquake and killed 90% of the planet, 10% trying to survive, but they have the knowledge of what we know from before. It's knowledge. Knowledge, that's what it is. Well, this is what I should have used. These people that start again in time, they had knowledge from somewhere. So why are we getting to a certain level and then it's all destroyed? This has happened too many times. It's not coincidence all the time, is it? What the hell's going on? The other thing we need to think about is religion. All these, I mean, how many billion on the planet now are religious? And there's quite a few billion. A lot of them aren't open to aliens, life, or anything like that. So it's going to raise this question, well, does God really exist? Who is God? Are they God? Did they create us? All these questions are going to come up, and the government are not prepared to answer these kind of questions. It's too much of a global impact, I think, anyway. What kind of impact is this going to have on all those kind of people who turn to religion? And they're going to be suddenly asking questions. What have I been doing my whole life, dedicating myself to a God that doesn't exist? This all will be asked. This will come out, in my opinion. And they have something to do with the development from day one. If they have, well, they're going to tell us, well, we created you. What's that going to do to everybody who believes in religion? That's a lot of people not going to be happy. Sorry for laughing. Just had visions of a load of religious people all ganging up, millions and millions, all raiding the churches and bashing all the priests and all that. That's probably what made me laugh. So the Air Force is saying they can disappear, and that really scares them because nobody has this power on Earth that we know. Russia hasn't just developed it, or China, have they? Have they? But it's the propulsion and everything else and the acceleration speed they can go to and be seen at opposite ends of the world, and it'll be the same time, a few seconds, that they can travel thousands of miles. But the government seems to have the same opinion that I have. It's when you observe these things. So they must have observed them for a while, and they must have observed more than a few. And this is what they come to, because you can't tell from just one. You don't come up with the, proper summation of what it is. You can't. It's from observing them over a period of time. You see how they move and what they can turn into and change shape. 1 minute they're, as they call the Tic Tacs. I didn't even know they were called Tic Tacs until the other day. Somebody said to me, Tic Tacs. I thought she was taking the piss. And she said, they're the Tic Tacs, the government are saying, you must have, she said, you have the best photographs anyone's ever seen of these things. Nobody has pictures of these items, objects. And she said she'd put them all around for me anywhere in her website and all over. I said, yeah, go ahead, thanks. So if people watch my videos, some of them I don't add the music. I'm talking in the background and trying to explain everything that I know and everything that I've observed about that craft. And it's exactly what this report is saying. And I've been saying this for a long time now. It's not new to me. But it's been a long wait, to be honest. Long, miserable wait, waiting for everyone to come clean. While I've been getting battered. So I do feel it vindicated now. These things are not my imagination. I'm not a nutcase. I haven't been hospitalized. I've never been sectioned. I'm a normal person, had normal jobs, had a normal life. But these seem to be interested in me for some reason, and have been all my life. And I need to find out what. So if the government are hiding something, I'm the first one in line to find out what, wanting to find out what, because it's in my interest. And a lot of people can't say the same, because there hasn't been that many. I know David Jacobs goes on about these abductions and hybrid programs. I don't believe all that. I got some regression from him, and he tried to brainwash me into believing it was grey aliens stealing my eggs and I was naked on the table and they were doing all sorts. Never happened. Never happened. He did say, though, that I filled in quite a few blanks for him, but that doesn't mean anything to me, because he gets you to sign this waiver form. He says it's for you, for your interests, and you're like, oh, okay, that's very kind of you, very good, at least you're really worried about people, very kind, very thoughtful. And this form says that he won't use your name, he'll never reveal your identity, he'll never say this is you, this is that, whatever, never. And you think this is good at the time, you think, oh, that's perfect. But what he does, that's giving him the clearance to use your material in his books without giving you any credit whatsoever. That's all that is. He used my material in his next new book, and most of it was based on my stuff, and he left out what he felt like and put in what he felt like, mixed from other people's, and makes up this whole big convoluted. He uses that word convoluted a lot. It should be used on him. His whole big convoluted book of nonsense. Books, I should say. And nobody gets any credit except him. Even the poor Air Force guys are worried about other people, what they're going to say to them, calling you a nutter, you're mad, you're this, the jokes, this. Oh, I've had it all. Yeah, I've had it all my life. You dread saying anything, then you just get fed up telling people. I just thought, I know what they're going to say anyway, what's the point? I'll just keep it to myself. And I just kept so much to myself. We'll write a book one day. I'm thinking when I go back to Sri Lanka, I'll start doing things there and all that. So that's all started, but I'll do a lot more when I get there when all this COVID thing is over. And I can go on the jollies, take a year off, and I'll write the book by a nice beach, lovely atmosphere. Head clear, no traffic, no noise, no nothing, just peace and quiet and lovely people, lovely food, lovely country. I can't wait. Then I'll write a book maybe. If the UFOs leave me alone for a little while. But I get ongoing things because it's not stopping. It's getting worse and more and more. And I'm terrified what I'm going to find out. What if they're hostile? What do they want with me? People ask me that question, what do they want with you? Who are you? Why are you asking me? I wish I knew. What do I think? I've thought about this so many times. The only thing logical thing I could think of is they're following some sort of genetic line, and maybe from the first humans that arrived, or the group that they put here or something, I don't know, and they're just following. But then again, nobody else in my family has experiences, I don't think. My granddad, yeah, they said there was some experience in an army barracks in 1920. He was only a young boy, 17 or something like that, and he joined the army. And there's my auntie just told me recently, there was some disturbance, all electrical, something, a ball of electricity was flying around like ball lightning, and they didn't know what it was, but it pushed everyone back against the wall. They were all like, flew against the wall. Everybody that was in the dorm. Don't know any more on that. But people have seen, everyone's had a weird experience of having like a ghost or something moving, the door locking by itself, lights going on by themselves. There's been a lot of that. Everyone in my family can say something like that, but not continual like me. And when I go to their houses, things happen and they see it. A lot of my family now have witnessed things. They all know there's something weird going on. It's not a secret in my family. And a lot of them believe it because they've seen it. But I don't really sit down and talk to them about deeply about what I really think and what I've really experienced. It'd be just that happened, or what they saw. Oh my God, this. But it wouldn't be a deep conversation sort of thing. And what do they think? What do you think about these being in my life since I was a child? What now? What do you feel? I don't know what anyone thinks about it. My mum was terrified, I know that much. She was absolutely terrified. She didn't want to hear. She was, oh, don't tell me, please don't tell me. She didn't want to know. She was too scared. And again, talking about global impact, look the way they organised the mosques and everything else, every country. It was implemented very quick. All the restrictions, everybody acted and everybody was coordinated. So there's something of a global impact like that. They can act very quick when they work together, can't they? There's a video on my channel with some UFO collection. What it was I went to Sri Lanka and then took some footage from the plane window, and I didn't find it for a couple of years actually. Just started checking things, but I just took the film and left it. I never thought to check it. When I checked it, I saw there was 3 or 4 objects following my plane. Now I stopped in Dubai for 4 hours, and I got another plane. I also took some footage there. There was also one object I caught following that one. When I got to the villa that night, it was about 9 o'clock when I was all relaxed and in the villa, settled in, had my dinner and everything else, and it was in the evening. So I thought, have a look outside, it's pitch black. There's nobody near me, no neighbours. Those villas were about a mile apart, half a mile apart. So my neighbour was right through the jungle up the other way, up the beach. So there's nobody around. And I saw in Asia, you get the little upside down moon. I always loved that. It's really cute. You get it in Egypt and places like that, Syria. It's like the crescent moon is on its, on its back, more or less, the opposite way to where we see it here. I always thought that was really cute. So I thought, oh, upside down moon, I'll get that on video. I'm taking a video of the garden. It's dark, but you can see the lights and everything. And the garden, the villa. I'm saying, I'm at the villa, blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's the upside down moon. What I didn't see was there was an object underneath the moon there. And I didn't see that till just last year. But what that means, that was already there. That was there. It knew where I was. So it was the same object that followed my plane. And then when I came back, just last year, actually, in fact, the similar object, very, very similar, looks exactly the same on the video, was here over my garden, going across really slow, just cruising, and I've got a good video of it. I included that. So I put them all together. I'll put the link actually in here if anyone wants to watch it. You don't have to look through them. But it just made me realise that they knew where I was going. They knew where the villa was. They knew my plane. How, this is really, if I start thinking about this, it'll scare the hell out of me. Am I like on the Truman Show? Are they all watching me for a laugh? Oh, this is, look, oh, look what she's doing now. This goes through my mind sometimes. So, try not to think about it, but this is, how did they know where I was going? I just suddenly thought that today. I was talking to a friend about it, and I'm just starting to think again. You know, it knew the villa, it was outside the villa, it knew the planes, and I was in Dubai for 4 hours, and it followed the other plane as well. So they even knew I was waiting for 4 hours for the plane, followed the other plane. This is not mind-numbing, mind-blowing, I'd say. And these questions are getting really crucial now. You know, they have to be answered. I need answers now. Just think, everyone here on Earth now, if things are normal and we're all born the way we are, generations, and it's all above board, and it's true what we believe. All of us here now are only here because our ancestors survived everything. They survived everything that was thrown at them through generations. You know, the world has been wiped out so many times, most of it. You can tell by everything under the sea, in the desert, the big monuments. We reached a high technological status before. I think more than once, more than a few times, and it's destroyed in disasters or whatever. So all the people here now, our ancestors survived all this, and we're all here today because of it. Just think of that. Just adding a few words because there's a bit of footage left, and I was going to cut it, but it's actually cut the end of the footage, and people might be interested in the last bit. Just say thanks very much for watching if you've got this far. But people have been saying to me, put a longer video up so we can chat. Because I don't really chat online, I don't really go on other people's channels or comment anywhere, or I'm not in any forums or anything like that, and I don't really chat on Facebook, or maybe Twitter now. I'm starting to chat a little bit more. So, but if anyone has any questions or wants to ask me anything, just make comments on my YouTube channel and I'll answer everything. And if you want my private email, I can give you that. But you know, it's not that I don't like chatting or anything like that. I just don't like chatting. I don't like imposing on other people's channels sometimes, you know, well, most of the time. And then if someone doesn't like what you say, they add on to it and it creates friction on the channel, which I don't do. So I'd rather keep my opinions to myself unless it's on my own channel, and then I can take the flak, can't I? But so I don't really, that's probably one of the reasons, because when, you know, trolls and all that, they pick up everything you say and cause trouble, take things around the wrong way and all that. So I just learned, don't comment, it's best not to say anything. And, you know, your mother and father always say, if you haven't got anything nice to say about it, don't say anything. So I'm one of those people. So thanks very much again for watching. Hope you found the clips interesting. I've tried to include, I don't watch the news, I haven't had a TV in over 20 years. But there's so much coming up now, and it's mostly on YouTube. I'm seeing them, but all the UFO stuff's coming up, and every day there's a new one coming. My brother tells me, oh, Archie made a comment today, or done some segment today, and things like that. So I've seen the BBC have done some, as we've seen in the video, RT, Fox, 60 Minutes, as I said before. I hope I don't get a strike anyway. Okay, it's finished now, I think. Okay, thanks very much for watching again, everybody, and bye for now.